Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching an ABC10 Plus recap of the day's stories you may have missed. The search continues for 7 people still missing after powerful explosions tore through a fireworks warehouse in Esparto. Then our To The Point team has an update on the home insurance crisis. The ABC10 Plus recap starts right now. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Laura Painter.
And I'm Chris Thomas. We have continuing coverage tracking the latest developments on the fireworks warehouse explosion. We have live team coverage today. We're learning new information about some of the 7 people who are still missing. And we're taking a closer look at the warehouse and the investigation.
We start tonight with ABC 10's Gabriel Porras, who is live at the scene. Gabriel, tell us what you've learned today.
Well, Chris and Laura, we are learning that there is still so much more work ahead for first responders, obviously for investigators, but also for fire crews. There might not be much smoke out here right now, but this fire is still considered active. This is as close as we've been able to get to the scene so far. Still a long distance away, but from here we can at least see officials working at the explosion site, something they say wasn't safe enough to do even 24 hours ago. In this quiet corner of Yolo County, daybreak brought little change to the decimated scene where a fireworks warehouse exploded Tuesday. Families of the 7 people missing still seeking answers.
We will not be accepting any questions at this time.
Law enforcement and fire officials still evading questions.
I can hear good, you know.
And Elicio Sandoval Perez still has trouble hearing.
I hear the explosion very hard, and I hear I feel the wall from the house like a shaking.
That was his sign to evacuate Tuesday night with his wife and her grandchildren, returning Thursday to no power.
This is the second one.
And almost no windows.
The third. Miramos varias cosas caídas.
He says items inside their home fell over, a door cracked, and at least 8 windows shattered.
I don't feel good. These 2 days, I don't feel nothing good.
But the damage is nothing compared to Johnny Ramos's pain. His 18-year-old son Jesus and 22-year-old son Johnny still missing.
No puede haber una muerte más cruel que esa.
He says there couldn't be a more cruel way to die. He believes their bodies could be in the rubble officials entered Thursday.
Our objective is to make the area safe so that we can continue to bring more crews in. Over the evening and into the morning, we've had several more responders moving into the area, and our operation is starting to get a little larger.
Also getting larger, the list of questions.
The Board of Supervisors is working with our department heads, our county administrator, our law enforcement agencies to ensure that the ordinances, policies, and procedures were followed.
In a quiet town shaken by a blast, the only thing louder are the questions and the grief.
I must ask and beg for your patience as we work through the scene. This team of public safety professionals who are working on the scene right now are doing everything they can to bring you the answers and the closure that you're looking for.
The cruel death. Cruel death.
And we are told that those families of the missing are getting hotel and food vouchers from the county. Obviously, that's the last thing on their minds. They just want to know what happened here and why. And just down the street here, that's what investigators say. They are working so hard to find out. Live in Esparto, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Gabriel, I can only imagine the pain those families are dealing with right now. Our hearts go out to them. Keep us posted as you learn more. Gabriel, thank you.
Well, investigative reporter Andy Judson has more on what could have caused the devastating explosion. She spoke to fire experts who shared new context and joins us live now in the studio.
Yeah, Chris, the explosion happened at a warehouse licensed to Black Star Fireworks. The owner, Craig Cutright, told me, quote, "None of our products are involved." And he pointed to another company, Devastating Pyrotechnics, out of San Francisco. And records show both companies hold valid licenses with the state marshal. Now, I spoke with 2 experts, including fire investigator Richard Meyer, who's investigated explosions around the world and handled explosives in the U.S. Army Reserves. One of his biggest questions is just how many fireworks were being stored in that warehouse. He says in any facility, safety protocols should be in place to prevent a spark from becoming a catastrophic chain reaction, like they are in the military.
They were stored in bunkers underground and in limited quantities so that if an explosion happened in one, it wouldn't spread to the others, and have spacing between those locations to prevent things from spreading like it did in this case.
But tragic firework explosions like this are not isolated. This video you're seeing shows a 2022 incident in Florida that killed 4 people. Attorney Ryan Will represented a victim's family in that case. He leads national fire litigation at the law firm Morgan & Morgan and says these situations have a lot of similarities.
When we're talking about these types of explosions, they really come in 3 variations. One is the lack of proper procedures to ensure the safety of the people who work there. 2 is lack of training, and 3 is lack of safety equipment. With our warehouse here in Orlando, what we have is a situation where there was absolutely no oversight, no regulation, no safety equipment, and it was really just kind of the perfect storm.
And both of those experts say stronger safety standards and oversight are needed nationwide for facilities that store fireworks. And ABC10 reached out to the California Fire Marshal and CAL FIRE and requested records on how often this facility was inspected, how many fireworks were there, and what oversight it faced, if any. And we're still waiting to hear back, but of course we'll keep you posted on those updates. Chris and Laura.
Okay, Andy, thank you. Now, we did reach out to the attorney representing devastating pyrotechnics. In a statement today, he said very much is still unknown about the circumstances surrounding the fire. And while we understand the public's need for more information about the warehouse facility in Esparto, we cannot provide any further comment at this time. The authorities will be conducting an investigation into this matter, and we will cooperate fully with that investigation. Now, keep in mind to get the latest updates on the fireworks explosion investigation and to watch each news conference live as they happen. Go to the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. We have today's full news conference as well as interviews with loved ones of the missing. The app is free to download on your TV.
Well, the California Department of Insurance says it is just weeks away from an important step on the path to stabilizing the state's insurance market. Now, many of you have told us that you are really having trouble finding home or even renter's insurance unaffordable or unavailable. So ABC10's Becca Haubecker is joining us in studio now. And Becca, this is something that's really been years in the making, right?
Yeah, Alex, in 2023, the California Insurance Commissioner announced plans to overhaul the state's insurance regulations by the end of 2024. Now, he hit all of the deadlines he set for his department, but some of those changes were going to take a while to actually come into effect, and that's just about where we are right now.
In recent years, 7 of California's 12 biggest homeowners insurance companies have paused or limited business in the state, citing growing risks due to climate change, the rising cost of doing business, and burdensome state regulations. Those market changes have driven up the cost of insurance for property owners and even renters, and many homeowners have had to turn to the California FAIR Plan, the bare-bones, high-cost fire insurance of last resort.
California is at an insurance crossroad.
As a result, nearly 2 years ago, California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara unveiled his so-called sustainable insurance strategy. As part of it, he agreed to give insurance companies 2 tools they've wanted for years, but an insurer can only use those tools if it agrees to write more policies in high wildfire risk areas. Those areas encompass half of the state's 58 counties and more than 650 zip codes.
My top priority is for people to have more choices in a competitive market.
Commissioner Lara testified Wednesday at a hearing of the Assembly Insurance Committee, saying those tools are weeks away from becoming available. Under state law, insurance companies must get permission from the commissioner before raising rates. They submit applications justifying the rate increase they want. These 2 new tools will allow companies to use forward-looking so-called catastrophe modeling to predict future risk and factor in the cost of California-only reinsurance, basically insurance for insurers. The department is on the verge of approving 3 different catastrophe models insurers can use.
That's why you haven't seen really the market correct itself yet with these new tools, because we had to make sure that we reviewed and approved these catastrophe models first.
We have already heard from companies who represent about half of the overall marketplace. And what they've said to us is, when you've done your work, we're going to do our work. We're going to write more policies.
The insurance commissioner says with these changes, we should see the market beginning to stabilize later this year or early next year. Alex?
All right, Becca, thank you. And the To The Point team spent months investigating the home insurance crisis, hearing from homeowners, lawmakers, and the insurance commissioner himself. You can stream the special investigation right now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app.
Well, tomorrow is the 4th of July, and each year people celebrate by lighting fireworks. It's a fun time that can sadly also be very dangerous.
According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, last year, 14,000 people were hurt by fireworks, and 11 of them died.
In 2023, a Bella Vista High School baseball player had his life changed forever after a fireworks injury. Now he's sharing his story with ABC10's Luke Clary.
It's been 2 years since Jamie Groshong's life changed forever, but some things haven't changed.
Ooh, push-ups kill me. They're very hard.
His commitment to the grind, for one thing.
It's an out that me and my friends all love. Some people call it therapy. I don't know.
I was thinking you bought it off of him.
He's still close with all his old friends.
Sky's the limit, man. Like, he can really do anything.
Sharing fond memories of a stellar high school baseball career.
It was super fun. Just that satisfaction you get from hitting a line, driving a gap, making a crazy play up the middle or something at short.
It happened weeks after graduation, on the 4th of July, 2023.
My outlook after the accident, actually, for a while was like, I could have died. It could have been a lot worse. What I learned, it's you shouldn't have to have somebody learn the hard way to learn it. Like, just read the label.
An illegal firework exploded in his right hand, his throwing hand. He hopes sharing his story now will make others think twice this holiday weekend.
I don't want to see somebody else's dream get crushed due to a freak accident or something.
His dream of playing baseball at San Diego State had to change.
You guys coming down to visit me in San Diego or what?
And after 2 years of junior college, he's heading there now to study econ.
Hopefully get a big boy job right after that. Wherever that takes me, God knows.
He's also sharing his story to inspire others who, like him, ever made a mistake.
But I mean, it's crazy. There's sensors, they're all like, you can see it's pretty fine.
To know just because life has changed, even a lot, it doesn't mean it's over.
I'm back. As friends of his, it's really inspiring to see him keep going.
The accident shaped my friends, which shaped me, kind of shaped my whole life in a way. It's all carbon fiber, so I mean, it's rock solid. A punch would hurt really bad.
In Fair Oaks, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
JB, we thank you so much for sharing your story, and so good to see you doing much better now. Wishing you well as you head off to school. And we know a lot of people are looking forward also to this holiday weekend, right? To get out and enjoy before heading back into class.
Yeah, a very inspiring story, and the weather forecast also very inspiring too. Let's get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, inspiring to go outside and spend some time outside over the next few days because it is just going to be so nice. In fact, today has been very nice as well. Very quiet compared to the last few days. We've had thunderstorms basically all this week. That's not been the case today. Maybe a few drops of rain across the highest peaks, but I've been watching the wildfire cameras up here and nothing seems to be reaching the ground, at least for the most part. That's what I'm saying. Maybe a few isolated showers here and there. But for the most part, the only storms that we do have are up in the very far northern part of the state. And there is nothing in our neck of the woods except really nice weather. We are in the low 80s right now. 83 in Sacramento, 82 in Elk Grove, 85 in Stockton, 89 Modesto, 91 up in Colusa, mid 80s in the foothills, and even some low 70s in the high country, 73 in South Lake Tahoe. Here's the interesting part. You look at the map, everywhere is cooler than where we were at this time yesterday. In fact, we're about 15 degrees cooler across parts of the valley. The one exception is South Lake Tahoe, which is actually 15 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. That's because they had a severe thunderstorm pass through that area yesterday. They were in the 50s at about 5 o'clock. on Wednesday. So today, because they don't have that thunderstorm, they're actually warmer. But again, it is still very nice across the region. We've got quite a bit of the Delta breeze going this evening. We are looking at 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds across parts of the Delta and San Joaquin Valley, and gusts have been higher than that. In fact, we've seen 35 plus mile per hour gusts over that same area over the last hour or so. Looking at downtown right now, or in fact at the Tower Bridge towards West Sacramento, it's 83 degrees, 12 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. If you're off to the River Cats game or maybe just off to dinner, it's going to be a very, very nice evening. A few clouds still, but then we'll see some clearing skies. We'll be in the low 70s by 9 o'clock tonight, and we'll be starting off tomorrow in the mid to upper 50s. So that's cooler than where we've been, and in fact, it's a little cooler than normal. We'll still be a lot cooler than normal by tomorrow afternoon. I've got us topping out around 85 in Sacramento, 85 in Stockton, 88 in Modesto. So very mild all across the valley as those onshore winds are going to continue through the 4th of July. And it is much, much nicer than where we were this time last year. Remember, we had those widespread triple digits across Northern California at the start of July 2024. This year, not the case. Very seasonal through the weekend, if not even below seasonal for most places. We do start to warm up, though, as we get in towards next week. This is a next week thing. I'm not going to linger on this point because you do see some triple digits there. But really, the immediate forecast, that short-term forecast, mid-80s tomorrow, upper 80s on Saturday, upper 80s, low 90s Sunday, just absolutely perfect for the holiday.
So what you're saying is we can cross that bridge when we get there, which is a few days out. We won't think about the triple digits. You just think about all the fun you're going to have this weekend.
Yeah, get through
right?
the holiday. Beautiful holiday weekend on tap. Well, thank you, sir.
All right, tonight in our Champions of Hope, we're introducing you to a local family whose journey through grief is really leading them somewhere unexpected, not just towards healing, but also towards helping others. And now they're planting the seed of something much bigger, a place where love and loss can live side by side.
Birthday beatboxing.
Good luck with that. You're taking the stand.
Olivia was funny. She was super caring.
Reach the stars.
She just cared about everyone, but she was also a prankster.
Okay, cool.
She loved life.
This is now my freedom!
Olivia Chan left a mark on everyone she met.
Honestly, she was the glue to our family. And so when she ended up passing, it was quiet.
And unexpected. What started as a bellyache.
So I took her to the pediatrician. Pediatrician confirmed, like, yeah, you know, it takes her a couple weeks to get over the stomach bug, but she'll bounce right back. So we get home, and sure enough, later that afternoon, she's running around and she's jumping off the couch. She's FaceTiming my sister.
Quickly took a turn. When Olivia started feeling sick again, her parents, Raina and Mel, took her back to the doctor.
And so he carries her into the ER, and I'm calling, you know, for nurses and doctors, and I'm like, you guys have to help her, there's something wrong. And so at that point, she was completely paralyzed on her right side of her body. And that's when they took her in to get a CT scan. And that's when they discovered like a massive brain bleed.
And then the Chans got more unexpected news.
A couple hours later, a doctor comes in and he says, we think she has a really rare form of blood cancer. And we're like, okay, well, what do we deal with first? Are we going to deal with the aneurysm, the cancer? What are we doing?
Doctors performed multiple surgeries on Olivia while trying to treat her cancer. But in just 3 days of her diagnosis, Olivia died.
It was probably one of the hardest things that we had to go through. But it was surreal because, you know, she was playing soccer. She was running around. She had just turned 9.
Happy birthday to you.
Olivia's death, an unimaginable loss they then had to explain to their son.
I remember calling him and I said, hey, we're gonna be in the hospital a lot longer than I thought. Olivia's not doing well. And his response was, well, what do you mean? No one dies from a stomach flu, right? I said, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be home in a couple hours. And that was the last thing that I said to him, that she'll be okay. And, and 3 days later, we had to tell them that she wasn't coming home.
The Chans tried therapy and searched for ways to help their family with the grief, but nothing stuck. Then they found the Dougie Center, a nonprofit in Oregon.
We were able to be around families who had gone through a similar loss or just a loss, and they understood exactly what we were feeling. There's no explanation needed, and they just got it.
The Chans are now bringing the same concept to Sacramento, creating the Olivia Chan Foundation built around the values she embodied: kindness, connection, and care. Their foundation seal inspired by
Lucky is Olivia's favorite unicorn, so we thought it was just fitting to make Lucky our official mascot.
Olivia's parents turning to the things that reminded them the most of her.
I wish I was a grown-up. I wish I was a unicorn. She probably wrote this when maybe she was about 5 or 6 years old, so we found this in her journal, and we put this on all of our t-shirts.
Their foundation now helps families navigating the painful journey of losing a child, offering free peer support, resources, and community.
So these are just a few things that we do at our program.
From care packages and books to activities like Message in a Bubble.
So we tell them to write their message here, stick it in the bubble, and then blow it into the air.
The foundation's ultimate goal is to open a free grief center in Sacramento and model it off the Dougie Center.
To be able to give the kids that safe space to talk about their loss, it's an amazing thing because they can all relate to each other.
Through Lucky the unicorn, a symbol of hope and Olivia's spirit, and the foundation's work, Olivia's story continues.
There's no getting past this, and I think that's what we've learned. Grief is lifelong. And so that's what we love about this model, is because you could come for as long as you need, and when you're ready to go on your way, you can go, and then you're free to come back.
Her legacy isn't just one of loss, but of love shared, grief transformed, and a family choosing to give back even in the face of heartbreak. Because when love is that strong, it doesn't end.
She was just wonderful. She was the best thing that happened to us.
It finds a way forward. And the Olivia Chan Foundation meets at the Green Haven Neighborhood Church every other Monday. If you are wanting some more information, you can head over to our website at abc10.com.
Scientists estimate dinosaurs last roamed the Earth about 66 million years ago. But this holiday weekend, they're back, at least in theaters. ABC 10's Marcus Allen has more on the rebirth of a Jurassic-sized franchise.
Good morning, sir. You know, if you ever wondered, could this really happen? Is this a bunch of Hollywood hooey? If you go back to the first Jurassic Park or even the Crichton book, there's an evil scientist, Dr. Henry Wu. Well, believe it or not, that company that he's created, a company just like that, Colossal Biosciences, exists in real life. Beth and Ben are real scientists, considered the nation, or rather the world's leading experts on it. And I caught up with them and I said, they said, if not for being evil, we're exactly like that guy. And I said, really? Listen. All right, you brought it up, so I'm going to go ahead and ask, should we fear that you're going to go evil? Like, how do we know you're going to be okay?
I don't know, it depends on the morning. Sometimes if I know.
How much of it were you going, yes, this is absolutely possible, and how much of it you were saying, yeah, it's not going to go down like that?
Mostly saying no to dinosaurs. I worked in the field of ancient DNA since the very beginning. My whole field was actually part of the inspiration for writing the first book, Jurassic Park. Michael Crichton cites the Extinct Species Study Group at Berkeley for giving him the idea for writing Jurassic Park. They'd gotten DNA from the museum-preserved skin of a type of zebra called a quagga. And so I spent my whole career being asked whether this was Jurassic Park. And I did try on several occasions to extract DNA from mosquitoes and other insects preserved in amber.
That was not a colossal.
It was me as an academic.
Saying
it was
before not a colossal sanctioned project.
But it's just, that isn't going to happen. Amber is it's very hot and porous. It's terrible for DNA preservation.
I love that you go all the way back to the preserved mosquito, the very genesis of this movie. You're saying, yeah, it would never happen.
Of course.
From the get-go.
What's interesting is like the same technologies that they talk about in the movies, right? Like we use to take a 73,000-year-old skull and a 12,000-year-old tooth and make puppies earlier this year, right? And so the technologies for ancient DNA extraction, for comparative genomics, genome engineering, and cloning are now here. And that's one of the things that, I think we've done a good job of perfecting at Colossal, but you just don't have that ancient DNA that goes back 65 million years for dinosaurs.
My only takeaway from that, they're cloning prehistoric puppies. And my thought is, I want a prehistoric puppy. Where do I get one of those? All right, we'll table that for a moment. Let's talk about Scarlett Johansson. Chris Pratt is not in this movie. The heavyweight headliner is Scarlett Johansson. And I said, what do you think of these dinosaurs?
They're like the stuff of nightmares. I actually think they're almost too scary. And yeah, they're just... I think they're going to blow everybody's minds. I mean, that's certainly when you ask, like, what have we not seen before? The dinosaurs in this film are like nothing you've ever seen before.
Maybe we should make this quick, huh? Time to move.
I love that scene. I love every scene in this movie. The thrills are there. I watched it with an audience that literally screamed in unison, swayed in unison, and applauded at the end of the movie. Yes, it's that good. See it on a big screen. Hey, speaking of Chris Pratt, I did my own excavating and dug up an ancient prehistoric interview I did with him on a role that would change his Jurassic life. So coming up in the 7, we're going to talk about that. Any questions? Yes, you in the front row.
Yes, I am in the front row for the question. So when they're acting like Scarlett Johansson and there's dinosaurs, the dinosaurs are not there when they're doing their lines. So that's all added in CG later on, right?
Yes and no. Like there was a lot of CG in here, but there's this Hollywood guy, a titan in the industry named Stan Winston that created a lot of robotic effects.
Okay.
And so a lot of this are, if you will, the most complicated puppets you've ever seen that are quite convincing.
All right, sounds good. All right, Mark Gasson, a little inside Hollywood there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care. I'll see you next time.
We're in day 1 of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns.
Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.